Does anybody else feel off? I mean, just like really off this weekend? Well, actually, I think it's kind of been since the beginning of the year. It's not necessarily bad, but it's just kind of heavy and weird. And I've been tracking a lot of things for myself. I've been doing a lot of yeah, taking time for me and looking at, some of my health stuff. And I was in a theta group this last weekend and it was really cool. Of course, it's always cool to spend some time with other theta practitioners, kind of brush up on our techniques, share new things, things that we're learning, and it was great. And one of the things we did was this it's kind of a breadcrumb of trails. So as you're looking at this shift, not ignoring it, not ignoring the weird and how things feel differently, but moving through time and space with grace. And so, one of the things as we don't push through and we start looking at these breadcrumbs is that we look at our feelings. What are the feelings? How do we feel this way? And not being distracted by doing all the other things that we all do. So I know this reminds me. I've talked before about the concept of when your feelings come up, when you keep having the same feeling, the same thing, that's a indication you need to pay attention to it. When you see the same numbers, you look for it. When you see the same symbol, you look for it. When things keep coming up, they're asking for our attention. And also looking at it from the perspective of we didn't get here by one incidence. We didn't have one thing happen that made us angry. It wasn't just that email you opened 5 minutes ago. It's not usually that one thing. That was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And so as an energy worker, as an intuitive healer, I'm very aware of my own energy and other people's energy. And yeah, a lot of times I would like to ignore my own energy and help other people instead. It's just kind of part of who we are, being that social worker, that advocate. And it's so easy for us to go and do for other people, but a lot of times we shortchange ourselves. We are busy getting a magazine ready for a whole collective of people like Andy does. And we tend to forget some of our own things in there. I get busy scheduling clients and keeping things streamlined. And then I don't have the opportunity or I don't take the time and make the time for myself. And so this is part of my background. I've done crisis intervention in just about all of my careers at some point in time, some way of doing that. And this really brings in that whole concept that your body keeps the score. Yep, this is how we're getting back to it all, folks. Your body keeps the score. We feel that block. The block isn't, like I said, it's not about the email you opened 2 minutes ago. That isn't what made you mad. It was something before that, and something before that, and before that. And so this is where we're talking about these breadcrumbs of tracing things back. Now, in my theta group, we were at a different level, but it was the same concept of finding a block and then identifying where that block was. And then saying, okay, before it was here, where was it before that? Before it was there, where was it there? And so tracing these sensations and feelings and these blockages in our physical body back to an origin. And as we were doing this exercise, we all realized that when you traced something back to the root, it makes it really easy to let go of it. And so that's what I'd like us to look at today. look about that whole weird energetically. Let's get to this practical energy, this day-to-day energetics, and how can you use that? So when you think about something that feels weird or it feels off, where are you feeling that feeling? So think about something. You can think about things that just made you joy and happy, and where did you feel that? Unfortunately, when we go back and think about things, a lot of times we think about the negative things. So if you think about the last time something made you, yeah, we'll say angry, something that didn't sit well, what was it? And then when you think about what didn't sit well, where was that feeling in your body? Was it in your head? Was it in your throat? Did you feel like you were choking? Was it maybe in your heart? It was sadness or grief. Did it feel like it was in your stomach? Did you feel nauseous? So I want you to think about where something feels weird. And I just want you to think about it. And I want you to think about the feeling and where that feeling is. So we'll take the example that it's in your stomach if you don't have one. And then usually you're going to have your eyes closed, just thinking about that sensation of where this feels heavy or weird in your stomach. And then in your quiet space, you're going to ask yourself, well, where was it before there? Maybe before there, this was, maybe it was a pain in your knee. Maybe it was a pain in your back. Maybe it was in your head and you thought about it and took it to your stomach. Keep asking that question. You know, you can do where is it? You can also do when did it start? Was this something that I saw this morning? But what was really behind what allowed me to be upset about this? What was the feeling behind it? What was the activity before that? It's like peeling an onion. You peel that onion, you know, getting down further. Maybe you're feeling weird before lunch. But before lunch, was it that email? What was the feeling that you had before the email? Was that a conversation, something that someone said yesterday that didn't fit right? Was it, what was the feelings before that conversation when you felt like that? Before that conversation, what? So keep taking it back until there was a time that you didn't have that feeling. This is usually where we can take it back to the time when you felt heard, you felt safe, you felt respected. But it's all those little things that chip away from us that allow us to feel unheard, unsafe. Um, you just, you feel small. So go back. And as we're going back in time, as we're going back in feelings, in events, we're reclaiming our power. Does, I know you can see it. I know you can see it happening. And this is something we're not going to take care of necessarily in 5 or 10 minutes here on our live today, on our Transformation Tuesday with Amanda Beth, the intuitive healer. We're going to look at it as a practice, as something that you do, something that you come in contact with, those feelings, those emotions, those things that are heavy or just plain feel weird. And we're going to trace them back. And once you get those all the way back to the root of where everything felt strange to you, that's when you're going to be able to witness it and watch it leave. Looks like I have a camera defect here. Let's see. Well, that's okay because I'm going to keep talking because we're just going to take care of this today and we're going to do what needs to be done. We're going to talk about it. But that's the gist of what I want you to do is I want you to be able to take that weird feeling, take it all the way back to where there was a time. It may be a moment in time. It might be the younger version of yourself. It might be how you see yourself right now. And you're going to look at it. And that does bring us to our angel of freedom. So we have our angel of freedom here. And I pulled her out of the deck this morning and I thought, oh, this is kind of odd. But yeah, it does. It says, my soul is living, my soul's loving energy flows through my being. I am free. A great freedom is when we release the tension created by the lower centers of the consciousness that trap in us, that traps us in attachments of power over others, money, and sensation. When we simply allow the energies of the soul to direct our lives, we understand the freedom of being constructive and positive, accepting people and situations as they are here and now, free from the side effects of negative reactions. So I think this does go well into what I'm talking about today is having that freedom, going back to a time when things weren't feeling weird, when things were as they are supposed to be, when life was where it needs to be, when everything was doing good. And that's what I encourage you to go back to see where you're at, why this is happening this way. And today, I'm just the faceless person here talking to you, and I apologize for that. But let's throw in some theta here. And so if you'd like this download, you just say yes. That allows you to accept this. And so this download is if you would like to know what it feels like to live without carrying the before that weight in you now. Just say yes. So that's going back and removing that burden, what it is that you have to carry everything all the time, that you have to carry that echo of the past. We're going to go back to that and we're going to peel that onion back to the very basis of who we are. And we're going to stop that obligation to carry that past and to have that shift. So, yeah, let's do that work. So I don't know why the camera is not allowing us to show us our faces anymore, but um, enjoy those breadcrumbs. Enjoy taking the time to really get a feel of where you're at, where you want to be, what needs to be happening so that you can trace those feelings back to their beginning to know where you were safe and heard and that you could trust again. So work on that until next week, and I'll work on this camera. Don't forget, there is a Chronic Health Collective coming up tonight at 7 Central Time. We'll be meeting with some of our coaches tonight. I did not look at the schedule. I don't know if Andy's got that for me there in the back or not. See, I told you, everything is weird. Andy, Christy, and I, we did a whole thing on just how weird technology, how weird the vibes are, and everything. And so I just encourage you to keep going. So check in with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Thanks.